Good morning and welcome back to Sped Up News Daily Live Streams. This is your channel for daily live streams on entertainment and celebrity news. We're here today to talk about Roblox, which is a really popular game for individuals pretty much of all ages. And they are going through right now, there is a lawsuit that is alleging that Roblox is intentionally trying to addict gamers to its game so that therefore they can have more profit from in-app purchases. So as you can see here on the screen, this is the lawsuit that was filed. As you'll see, the defendant in this case is Roblox Corporation, Epic Games Inc., and John Doe's 1 through 50. When you see that on a complaint where it says John Doe's 1 through 50, that's a way for the lawyers to denote that they do not necessarily know of every potential defendant right now, but they want to leave themselves room to be able to bring in other individuals later into the case. So that's a common strategy, is to name John Doe's. So as you can see, the claims here that are filed on the lower right-hand corner are strict product liability, design defect, strict product liability, failure to warn, negligence design, failure to warn, common law negligence, statutory negligence, intentional misrepresentation, negligent misrepresentation, fraud, violation of California's fair competition law. And this is really exciting for me, friends. This is because I actually, when I was practicing law at a national law firm, I actually worked on a very large case that involved California's unfair competition law, section 17200. This is filed in California, and therefore it would be governed by the state protection laws and consumer protection laws in California. So this is filed in the Superior Court of the State of California for the County of Los Angeles, which is a very popular county for filings. I have handled cases that were filed in the County of Los Angeles as well. So Yvette Gibson, guardian litem on behalf of HG, a minor, is the plaintiff filing this action. So when we go to the first page here, and we see what the allegations are. The first page of a complaint is typically where the attorneys set the stage. They put their introductory paragraphs of jurisdiction, and they talk about the overview of this case. So, plaintiff is a minor, HG. For protection of minors in court filings, we typically see them referenced by their initials because we don't, for privacy purposes, we don't tend to like putting out a minor child's full name in a public filing. There are certain types of filings that can be filed under seal. There are certain types of filings that are protected from public access. And there are motions that can be filed by attorneys to ensure that certain filings are kept under seal if appropriate. However, this product liability tort case would not be one of those cases that would automatically be able to be filed under seal. It's not the type of case that would automatically be restricted from public access. So the plaintiff's attorney is taking that precaution to just name the minor child by their initials. So the complaint reads, plaintiff, minor HG, via their guardian ad litem, which is plaintiff Yvette Gibson, hereby brings this action against the above captioned defendants in the state of California, arising from the severe injuries sustained because of HG's use of defendants' video game products. And this is what the complaint alleges. Many modern video games are fun and engaging adventures that allow individuals to immerse themselves in the world of games. This litigation is not a war on fun, nor does it, I think the attorney meant to say this litigation is not a war or fun, nor does it seek to curtail the creation and enjoyment of entertaining video games. Rather, this litigation seeks to hold each defendant accountable for failing to warn and failing to include avoidable safeguards against the known risks to minors associated with excessive use of their video game products, and choosing instead to implement programming that exacerbates these risks to the detriment of minors like plaintiff IHG to increase their profits. The complaint alleges that the defendants are aware that the more time an individual spends playing their respective games, the higher the likelihood that said individuals will make in-game purchases, thereby increasing defendants' revenues. So I have seen this happen from personal experience when you're in an app and then all of a sudden, in order to play more or to get to a next level or to get a certain number of stars or prizes, you have to make these in-app purchases. And as a parent, I find that incredibly annoying, and I try not to support that. And so basically what this complaint is setting the stage to the court by saying the defendant, Epic Games, that is the maker of Roblox, they understand that the more time that minor kids are in their app, then the more they will spend likely on in-app purchases. So the complaint continues to allege that defendants are also aware that for more than 4 decades, scientists have known about and studied video game addiction. And then they footnote some doctors Griffiths, Hatley, de Olivia, Miguel Pontes, A History and Overview of Video Game Addiction from the Oxford Handbook of Digital Technologies and Mental Health, which is a 2020 cited study. So this would actually be really interesting to go out to and read. The defendant was aware. Furthermore, defendants are aware that for nearly 2 decades, science has shown that prolonged use of video games by minors can result in brain damage, cognitive decline, and physical and emotional deficits. Despite being fully aware of these risks, defendants marketed their respective games, Roblox and Fortnite, to minors without implementing simple safety features such as adequate parental controls, warnings, or opt-in limits on time that minors can spend in game. Instead, defendant chose to add features to their games that they knew would be addictive to minors in order to maximize time spent by minors like plaintiff IHG in their respective games, thus improving the odds of minors making in-game purchases and thereby increasing defendants' profits. Rather than taking necessary steps to mitigate the known risks associated with prolonged exposure of minors to video games, the defendants intensify the problem by causing and profiting from youth addiction. And then they footnote addiction as defined in the seminal article, Addictive Behaviors at Ecology and Treatment, published by the American Psychological Association in its 1988 annual review of psychology, is, quote, a repetitive habit pattern that increases the risk of disease and or associated personal and social problems. Addictive behaviors are often experienced subjectively as loss of control. The behavior contrives to occur despite volitional attempts to abstain or moderate use. These habit patterns are typically characterized by immediate gratification, short-term reward, often coupled with delayed deleterious effects, long-term costs. Attempts to change an addictive behavior via treatment or self-initiation are typically marked with high relapse rate. So this is really interesting. The plaintiffs here are setting the stage, and they're saying that this is addicting. Video gaming is addicting. They're citing to some articles by doctors and some studies. They are basically setting the stage by alleging that Roblox is engaged in encouraging these minors to be addicted to their product so that they can profit from the minors' downfall. So defendants' strategies have been extremely lucrative, states the complaint. As a result of defendants' inclusion of addictive features in their respective games, here Roblox and Fortnite, they have collectively generated billions of dollars while causing and or contributing to a public health crisis for minors suffering from addiction to and disordered use of video games. While there are countless video games on the market, many with similar game design and warning failures described herein. Defendants and their respective games, Roblox and Fortnite, have unique impacts on minors. As explained below, defendants' marketing strategies specifically target youth. Accordingly, defendants' games, Roblox and Fortnite, are often among the first online video games children play, and the catalyst to an addiction cycle and disordered relationship with video games. As set forth below, because of defendants' marketing efforts, Roblox and Fortnite were among the first online video games played by plaintiff IHG. As defendants expected and intended from their decision to add addictive and manipulative programming to their products instead of safety features, IHG became addicted to Roblox and Fortnite and developed a disordered relationship with video games. As a result, IHG suffers from severe emotional distress, dismissed social interactions, lack of interest in other hobbies, and withdrawal symptoms such as rage, anger, and physical outbursts. Through this lawsuit, IHG seeks to hold defendants accountable for their decisions to place profit over safety, which directly and proximately resulted in IHG's significant harm. Okay, so I can already see that this lawsuit is going to breed a lot of. There's going to be a strong reaction to this lawsuit from both sides, because gamers and those in favor of the gaming industry are going to say it's not, the gaming company's fault if your child becomes an excessive user of video games. They're going to say it's the parents' job and it's the parents' responsibility to make sure that they're monitoring the child who is using the video game and making sure that they do not overuse it. That's going to be a very strong argument that the gaming company is going to assert. But then again, on the other end, we have the plaintiffs and this guardian ad litem for this minor child saying, and I think many parents would share this view, that the gaming companies are not putting appropriate parental controls and safeguards on their game, and they are including manipulative and very stimulating features for the child. This plaintiff's guardian is claiming that he engages in rage and anger outbursts when forced to withdraw from the game. So they're even using terms such as withdrawal symptoms, which is a very, very interesting analogy to addiction of other substances. So essentially, this plaintiff, this parent or guardian of this child, is saying that he has severe emotional distress. He has dismissed social interactions. In other words, he would rather be playing this game than interacting with his peers. He has a lack of interest in other hobbies, and he experiences withdrawal symptoms such as rage, anger, and physical outbursts. Through this lawsuit, HG seeks to hold the defendants accountable for their decisions to place profits over safety, which they allege directly and proximately resulted in IHG's significant harm. So I'm going to page this forward for you, friends, to see the next page of this lawsuit. Then we're going to see who the parties are. So the plaintiff's attorneys conclude their introductory paragraph by saying the true names and capacities of the defendants, those 1 to 50, are unknown to plaintiffs at this time of filing. Therefore, they sue said defendants by fictitious names. And we talked about that, that basically this is the way that the plaintiff's attorneys can assure that if other unknown defendants are discovered to be involved later on, they can amend their complaint and name them at a later time. Plaintiff is informed and believes that thereon alleges that each of these fictitiously named defendants are responsible in some manner for the occurrences alleged hereon, and that plaintiff's injuries and damages set forth herein were proximately caused by such fictitiously named defendants. So to break this down for you, the reason why they're using that type of language about proximate causation and that the injuries were caused by and suffered damages is that there are certain elements of a tort claim. There are certain elements of a tort claim that a plaintiff has to meet. One is damages. They have to prove injury, harm, and that there are measurable damages in these type of tort cases. Also, they do need to prove causation, that the injury was directly and proximately caused by the defendants. So that is why you see that type of language in this complaint. So now we're going to talk about the parties and who everybody is in this complaint. Plaintiff Yvette Gibson is and at all times relevant to this action was a citizen and resident of the state of California whose principal place of residence is Los Angeles County, California. So they have to allege these jurisdictional type averments to be able to have filed suit properly in this California court, County of Los Angeles. So they're basically saying that Yvette Gibson, the plaintiff who's filing this lawsuit, has sufficient contacts with Los Angeles County and the state of California in order to be justified and able to avail herself of use of the California courts. Plaintiff Yvette Gibson is the mother of IHG, and she serves as IHG's guardian ad litem and representative in this lawsuit. Plaintiff IHG, a minor, is and at all times relevant to this action, was a citizen and resident of the state of California with a principal place of residence in Los Angeles County. IHG is 12 years old at the time of filing this lawsuit. So he's a preteen. He or she, we don't know if it's a boy or girl, but IHG is 12 years old, which is a pivotal point in puberty and as adolescence. And his mother is saying he's suffering these social consequences of being addicted to this video game. He's experiencing emotional distress, withdrawal symptoms. So this is really sad all around. These allegations. IHG began playing video games and using defendants' products, Roblox and Fortnite, at approximately 8 years old. Since that time, IHG has used and or continues to use defendants' products at an increasing, uncontrollable, compulsive, and or addictive pace. IHG has been injured and damaged and continues to be injured and damaged as a result of IHG's use of and addiction caused by IHG's use of defendants' defective products. Defendant Roblox Corporation, Roblox Corp, is a Delaware corporation with principal place of business in San Mateo, California. So let's move forward and learn more about Roblox Corp. So this complaint states that Roblox Corp is a video game developer and publisher who at all times, material hereto, designed, developed, tested, patented, assembled, manufactured, published, packaged, labeled, prepared, distributed, marketed, supplied, and or sold its video game and platform Roblox, either directly or indirectly to members of the general public within the state of California, including to IHG. The defendant Epic Games, Inc., is a Maryland corporation with principal place of business in North Carolina. Epic Games is a video game developer and publisher who at all times, material hereto, designed, developed, tested, patented, assembled, manufactured, published, packaged, labeled, prepared, distributed, marketed, supplied, and or sold the Fortnite video game series and platform either directly or indirectly to members of the general public within the state of California, including to plaintiff IHG. So then we talk about jurisdiction and venue. The suit alleges causes of action seeking relief arising under the laws of the state of California. And the jurisdictional section is pretty much very legalistic in nature. In other words, they need to be able to assert that there is enough contact with the state of California that would justify use of the California courts, as I had explained earlier. So they are asserting, for example, that plaintiff IHG is from the state of California as a result of defendant's contact with California. Plaintiff purchases and or downloaded defendant's games in California. The plaintiff played the defendant's games and subsequently developed an addiction to these games in California, and plaintiff suffered severe harm as a result in California. So the general factual allegations are, in 2023, 65% of Americans of all ages played video games every week. And they're citing Crosby Armstrong, video games remain America's favorite pastime with more than 212 million Americans playing regularly. So that's an article that they are citing to. And they're saying, In 2023, 65% of Americans of all ages played video games every week. In 2024, experts reported that roughly 85% of teenagers say they play video games, with 97% of boys and 73% of girls reporting video game usage. Further, more than 90% of children older than 2 years old play video games, and children 8 to 17 years of age spend an average of 1.5 to 2 hours daily playing video games. This research dramatically emphasizes the idea that video game usage has become fundamental in the life of an American child. Extensive video game usage damages adolescent brains. That's the allegation in this complaint. For almost 2 decades, research on the interaction between video game usage and the adolescent brain has shown that extensive usage has a severe impact on the adolescent brain, including loss of gray matter, which leads to severe physical and mental effects on the child. Many of these effects are indicators or consequences of internet gaming disorder, IGD, which is the addiction to video gaming. So that's very interesting. They're saying that there's actually a diagnosable disorder called IGD, which is related to excessive video game use. And it is a full disorder called internet gaming disorder, which is the addiction to video gaming. Very interesting. So the plaintiff in this case goes on to allege research on the impacts of video game usage includes studies about the role that dopamine plays in the brain during gameplay. Video games can and do cause an intense dopamine release in the user that is similar in magnitude to that experienced by substance abuse or gambling. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter made in the brain that acts as a chemical messenger that communicates messages between nerve cells in the brain, as well as between the brain and the body. Dopamine serves as the brain's all-important reward center, and in addition, plays a critical role in several body functions, including attention, mood, pleasurable reward and motivation, sleep, learning, and movement. The release of dopamine causes demonstrable physical, mental, and emotional responses in the human brain and body. This is especially true in minors, and particularly neurodivergent minors whose brains are still developing. Increased dopamine releases can lead to withdrawal symptoms, including anger, irritability, or physical outbursts when the game is made unavailable. So this is actually really interesting. They're talking about the dopamine and the science behind addiction in general, but also specifically behind video game addiction. And they're saying that, hey, video game addiction can be just as powerful as substance abuse or gambling addiction. And they're saying that neurodivergent minors, meaning minors who have certain neurodivergent conditions such as autism, ADHD, are at higher risk for these video game addictions. So the repetitive release of dopamine creates, reinforces, and strengthens a dysregulated or dopaminergic neural pathway that propels the user to hyper-focus on using the products more and more, first at an increasing rate, and then with compulsive desire until the impulse to use the products develops into a disordered use or addiction. So basically they're saying it causes the child or the user to hyper focus on use of the products. And this is actually very interesting because they did reference neurodivergent children, and children with ADHD or other types of neurodivergent conditions do have a tendency to hyper focus anyways on things that they like. Children with autism spectrum disorder may have very restrictive interests where they have very intense interests on certain topics, and have difficulty transitioning to non-preferred topics or non-preferred activities. So this is all really important, and parents, especially of children who have neurodivergent conditions, should be very cognizant of this lawsuit and the effect of gaming and other types of addictive activities on their children. Again, this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, but I am a parent, and I can tell you that this is very important for parents of neurodivergent children to be aware of. So it's a very timely lawsuit, in other words, because this idea of video games being addictive and damaging to children has been kicking around for quite some time in the science and the literature. Now it's coming into the courts. The repetitive release. So the complaint goes on to allege the repetitive release of dopamine creates, reinforces, and strengthens a dysregulated neural pathway that propels the user to hyperfocus on using the products. Those dysregulated neural pathways trigger addictive, compulsive, and so those dysregulated neural pathways trigger addictive, compulsive, and impulsive behaviors outside of the gaming world, consisting of life-altering impulsivity and inhibitory control behaviors that can and do cause a myriad of catastrophic physical, mental, and emotional disorders, symptoms, and injuries, including other addictions, significant withdrawal symptoms, maldevelopment of the brain's frontal lobe, dissociative behaviors, social isolation, damage and or negative consequences to cognitive processes, attention disorders, severe depression, morbid obesity, mal and or undernutrition, and other harmful effects, all to the severe detriment and damage to the minor, and to the severe emotional detriment and pecuniary or economic damage to their families and caretakers. Additional video game research reports the physical changes to the brain and brain matter as a result of gameplay. So the research has shown that prolonged use of video games damages the prefrontal cortex. So this is actually quite alarming, friends. They're talking about how video gaming not only causes these not only can cause these addictive behaviors and withdrawal symptoms, but this complaint alleges that video game addiction or internet gaming disorder, as it's called, internet gaming disorder, IGD, can cause problems even out for the child, even outside of video gaming world. So they're saying that this change to the brain that is caused by this video gaming disorder can trigger addictive, compulsive, and impulsive behaviors outside of the gaming world, consisting of life-altering impulsivity and inhibitory control behaviors that can and do cause a myriad of catastrophic physical, mental, and emotional disorders, symptoms, and injuries, including other addictions, significant withdrawal symptoms, maldevelopment of the brain's frontal lobe, dissociative behaviors, social isolation, damage and or negative consequences to cognitive processes, attention disorders, severe depression, morbid obesity, mal and undernutrition, and other harmful effects, all to the severe detriment and damage to the minor, and to the severe emotional detriment and pecuniary or economic damage to their families and caretakers. Oh my heavens. I mean, first of all, the lawyers on this case are certainly wordsmiths. They certainly phrase that in a very effectively scary way for parents and the courts and others reading this complaint about the potential dangers of video gaming for young children who still do have developing brains. And this is going to be a really interesting case to watch and to see how the defendant, Roblox, responds. I mean, Fortnite and Roblox are two incredibly popular games for minors. So this case, however, if it goes to trial, if it goes to a jury, however the court or the jury decide, could have massive impact on the gaming industry and the ability of families to bring these tort claims against gaming companies. So both sides, both the plaintiff's bar and the defendant companies, have high stakes in this litigation. So going back to the complaint here, we're going to go on to the next page, where the complaint continues to allege that research has shown that prolonged use of video games damages the prefrontal cortex and the pretextual cortex of the user, causing a loss of gray matter, lower cognitive function, and an inability to regulate impulse control. So research has also concluded that such use of video games may lead to negative effects like stress, aggressive behavior, verbal memory deficiency, depression, lowered cognitive abilities, sleeping disorders, anxiety, and behavioral addiction disorders. Clinical evidence has shown that users addicted to online games experience biopsychological symptoms and complications, including symptoms traditionally associated with substance abuse and addiction, such as hangovers, changes in mood, adaptability, withdrawal, conflict, and recurrence symptoms. Empirical studies indicate that gaming disorders are associated with detrimental health-related outcomes. So that's really interesting. This complaint is citing to studies, it's citing to research that indicates that gaming and the excessive use of games, video games, is linked to negative health outcomes. So again, this is definitely something that parents should be cognizant of. Empirical studies indicate that gaming disorders are associated with detrimental health-related outcomes. Brain imaging studies have shown that use of video games negatively affects the brain. Brain imaging studies have shown that use of video games negatively affects the brain regions responsible for reward, impulse control, and sensory motor coordination. Interesting. Other studies have shown that disordered and/or excessive use of video games leads to negative consequences on cognitive processes, including multi-second time perception, inhibition, and decision making. The prefrontal cortex, the locus of judgment, decision making, and impulse control, is still developing and undergoing major reorganization during adolescence. This region of the brain does not reach maximum capacity until the age of 25 to 30. The executive control center of the prefrontal cortex is essential to one's ability to healthfully weigh risks and rewards, and for pausing the pursuit of immediate rewards in favor of more adaptive, longer-term goals. The lack of full development of the prefrontal cortex is arguably why young people are more likely to engage in hours of use while ignoring basic needs like food, sleep, and hygiene. That's an interesting point. Like, there are like jokes about how like gamers who are like so focused on their games, they will go on these like 24-hour or longer binges of gaming. Some people go live on Twitch for like 24 hours. I mean, this complaint is bringing up things like the fact that sometimes gamers will ignore their own basic necessities, like taking care of their hygiene, having food, having sleep, and that's concerning as well. So without mature frontal lobes, minors are less able to weigh potential negative consequences and curb potentially harmful behavior like excessive use of video games, which further impacts frontal lobe development. So now let's move on to the next page here where the complaint has a graphic of the brain. And I really do like the plaintiff's attorney's approach here. I like that they are setting this stage for showing the court and explaining to the court the background and the research for why video gaming does carry all these risks. Because I think that without really laying this detailed background like they're doing, the court would be maybe the judge or the jury members who are unfamiliar with video gaming, may not understand truly the empirical studies behind the link to gaming and negative health outcomes. So this is really admirable that the attorneys are going through all this detail, and it is helpful context and helpful background. So the complaint against Roblox goes on to state, brain imaging studies related to internet gaming disorder have shown structural changes in the brain, particularly a reduction in white matter density, consisting mostly of cells and axons that transmit signals from the cerebellum to other brain regions, and gray matter volume associated with emotion, perception, memory, and motor control. Specifically, studies showed several regions of the brain demonstrated reduction in gray matter volume in gaming disorder participants, as depicted here. So again, they're citing studies, they have graphics. Brain activation studies have shown that the use of video games causes changes in the reward and impulse control regions of the brain, and that engaging with video games activate regions of the brain in a manner similar to the way the brain is activated in response to cue exposure to drugs. whereby addicts are exposed to relevant drug cues to extinguish conditioned responses. Additional brain activation studies have shown that individuals with gaming disorders have impaired inhibitions, and that video game cues activate craving, attention, and executive function areas of the brain. Those cognitive, sensory, motor, and emotional processes may be associated with long-term changes to the brain because of prolonged use of the products. Regions that showed activation in response to video game cues in gaming disorder participants in more than 2 studies are depicted in the following image. So now they're setting forth another image of these alleged brain scans of video gaming participants who have this disorder of internet gaming disorder. Um, so essentially, this is a very lengthy complaint that has been filed against Roblox. So let's just suffice it to say that they have done an excellent job as the attorneys on this file in setting forth graphics and reasons why basically they're laying the foundation. The attorneys are setting the stage for why they are alleging that Roblox should be held responsible. So they go on to talk more about structural studies of the brain, about research, about kids with ADHD. So research has shown that a neurodivergent minor with a diagnosis of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or autism spectrum disorder is at a higher risk of developing video game disorder or addiction, which can worsen one's ability to control impulsivity and result in brain damage. Research has shown that while use of video games may foster creativity in some minors, such potential benefits are outweighed by the risk of developing addiction or disordered use of video gaming products, which typically develops swiftly in minors and neurodivergent individuals. This is particularly true when the products incorporate addictive and manipulative tactics, as well as other problematic psychological programming. So they talk about gaming addiction in more detail and that it is a recognized and diagnosable condition. And it's important, it's very important that they do this and that they set the stage, because a lot of parents as well, a lot of people may discount addiction and say may discount gaming and say, oh, that's not an addiction, that's not like using a drug or gambling, but there's studies that are linking it to being detrimental, just as those other addictions are. Addiction to and disordered use of video games and internet gaming is a recognized, diagnosable mental disorder and form of behavioral addiction that is codified by the American Psychiatric Association's 2013 Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5. The diagnostic symptoms of internet gaming disorder currently set forth in the DSM-5 include preoccupation with playing and or using video games, withdrawal symptoms such as sadness, anxiety, irritability, and or other unpleasant symptoms when access to play and or use is removed, precluded, or reduced, tolerance, the need to spend more time playing and or using video games to satisfy the urge and desire to do so, loss of control or the inability to reduce video game playing and usage time and or unsuccessful attempts to quit playing, giving up other activities or loss of interest in previously enjoyed activities due to compulsion to play video games, continuing to play and use video games despite negative or problematic consequences, deceiving family members or others about the amount of time spent playing and or using video games to escape or relieve negative moods such as guilt or hopelessness, and jeopardize school or work performance or relationships due to playing and or using video games. So there's some very concrete symptoms that are associated with this internet gaming disorder, which is a diagnosable condition. So suffice it to say, the rest of this introductory paragraphs here talk about nationally recognized institutions such as the Cleveland Clinic and the National Center of Biotechnology Information, the research that they have found that also recognize video game addiction and categorize the addiction as falling under the general category of internet gaming disorder. Gaming disorder as of 2022 is disordered use of and or play with video gaming products. It's a recognized mental health disorder by the World Health Organization an international statistical classification of diseases and related health problems. Gaming disorder is included within the subcategory ICD-11 entitled Disorders that are due to substance use or addictive behaviors. Gaming disorder is defined in the 11th revision of the International Classification of Diseases as a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, specifically digital gaming or video gaming, which may be online or offline, manifested by impaired control over gaming, for example, onset frequency, intensity, duration, termination, context, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. So then they talk about the historical development and modernization of video games, which is really interesting because the term video game is defined by California code as any electronic amusement device that utilizes a computer, microprocessor, or similar electronic circuitry and its own monitor, or is designed to be used with a television set or a computer monitor that interacts with the user of the device. Video games were first developed in or around the 1950s. So initially, games were only available for play by the general public in arcades. Beginning in the 1970s, however, the first at-home video game devices, consoles, appeared on the market. So does anyone know? Let me know in the chat. Does anyone know what the first video games were that became available for in-home use in the 1970s? Because this complaint is alleging that initially video games, even though they came out in the 50s, they were only available in the arcades, and then they started to become available for in-home use. So this complaint goes on to state that by the late 1990s and early 2000s, there were multiple at-home video game consoles such as Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo's Wii, making video games easily accessible to most users from the comfort of their living room. Over the next 10 years, video games moved to mobile devices and tablets, once again increasing accessibility to gameplay. So many video games, including Roblox and Fortnite, can now be played on multiple different consoles, mobile devices, and tablets. Video games can be delivered in the accessible format. So video games can be delivered to those consoles, mobile devices, and tablets in several diverse ways, such as physical discs, digital downloads, online gaming networks, and cloud gaming services. In 2024, there are 1.17 billion gamers online, and global gaming revenues are at least $176.06 billion. As the sophistication of gaming devices and game delivery methods has increased, so too has the sophistication of the design of games themselves. Unlike their predecessors, many modern-day games are enormous in scale, providing countless hours of non-repetitive, unique gameplay that allows players to become immersed in the world of the game. The ways in which game developers monetize their games have also changed over time. In the past, game developers earned revenue primarily through the one-time use or sale of their games, although some game developers still follow this model. Others, including the defendants with their Roblox and Fortnite games, allow their games to be downloaded for no or minimal cost and generate revenue through purchases made within the game. In-game purchasing can include cosmetic customizations for the player's character, such as giving them hats, uniforms, hairstyles, boosters that help their characters perform better or progress faster within the game, and season passes that allow players to access exclusive in-game content. Many of these in-game purchases are relatively low cost, leading to them being termed micro transactions. So there might be only a couple dollars, and the kids say to their parents, "Oh, it's not that expensive. Why can't we go ahead and purchase this?" Or that's a really interesting point. Like, they make these in-game purchases so inexpensive that it really does become very incentivized to just go ahead and purchase it. So in-game items available for purchase are often heavily advertised to players through means such as in-game pop-up advertisements during gameplay, loading screens while users wait for gameplay to start, and in-game stores. Many games also offer game-branded products such as toys, energy drinks, apparel, bedding, home goods, board games, and more. Game developers that offer their games at no or low cost, such as Roblox and Fortnite, rely on these microtransactions to turn a profit. Indeed, the design and marketing strategy that's associated with such games is rooted in part in the theory that the revenue from the ongoing microtransaction system will outweigh the revenue from a one-time purchase game. This is because microtransaction spending can easily add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars from an individual user. Accordingly, modern gaming companies are enlisting PhD behavioral psychologists and using research to implement gaming into their games that will addict players with a goal of increasing the amount of time spent in game, thereby prolonging their exposure to in-game marketing for in-game purchases in order to improve the odds that players will engage with microtransactions that generate profits for the game developer. So that's interesting. They enlist PhD behavioral psychologists, allegedly, and use research to make the games addicting on purpose. So there are different types of conditioning and psychological techniques that this complaint is alleging that video game manufacturers use. We don't need to go through all of the science and the technical terms of those, but that's very interesting that they do lay that out here in the complaint. And they really do a great job of, in layman's terms, explaining all of these concepts to the court. So in development and use of patented programming, in addition to relying on their own studies to make program decisions, game developers, including the defendants, Roblox and Fortnite, developed, licensed, and otherwise utilized patented programming algorithms in their games that were intended to addict players, increase time spent in game, and drive microtransactions. So they're giving some examples here. A matchmaking patent that uses historical player data and analytics to create a system for driving microtransactions in a multiplayer game. This matchmaking patent is used in products like defendants, Roblox, and Fortnite at issue here, and can be summarized as a system and method that drives microtransactions in multiplayer video games. The system may include a microtransaction arrange match to influence game-related purchases. For instance, the system may match a more expert player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items possessed or used by the more experienced player. A junior player may wish to emulate the more experienced player by obtaining weapons or other items used by the more experienced player. The system for driving microtransactions is comprised of a host computer having one or more physical processors programmed with computer program instructions that, when executed by the one or more physical processors, cause the host computer to identify an in-game item that is relevant to a first player, but not yet possessed by the first player for gameplay in a multiplayer game, identify a second player that possesses the in-game item, and match the first player and the second player to play in a gameplay session to encourage purchase of the in-game item by the first player, wherein the matching is based on the relevance of the in-game items to the first player and the possession of the in-game item by the second player. This system is further programmed to determine that the first player has purchased the in-game item in relation to the gameplay session, determine a subsequent gameplay session that caters to use of the in-game item, and match the first player to play in the subsequent gameplay session to encourage future purchases. So wow, they're talking about all these different patented methodologies that Roblox and other game manufacturers allegedly use to addict players. And that's kind of scary that there's like these matchmaking techniques where one player, the algorithm first sets forth to detect a player where a particular item is relevant to that player but doesn't have that item yet, and then find a second player who already possesses that item and then match them up to encourage the first player to make that purchase. Then there's also a user spend parameter value. This patent utilizes a user spend parameter value to determine which users should be provided with access to an exclusive virtual section of the online game, such as a virtual shop that is presenting high-end or expensive virtual items. This prevents the game from losing the opportunity to extract additional value from users inclined to spend money. So, oh my gosh, so there's all of these different patented procedures and methodologies that this complaint goes into in depth. We don't need to go through everything here. But suffice it to say, there's a lot of techniques that game companies use to allegedly try to addict users to their products. Upon information and belief, the complaint alleges many game developers, including each defendant, licenses one or more of the above technology patents and or other patents similar thereto and incorporates said technology into their respective video game products with the intention of creating addiction and profits. Okay. So again, the complaint goes into much more detail here about the alleged technologies that are being used, the operant conditioning and psychological techniques. So we don't need to go through every single allegation in the complaint, but I want to actually get you to the Roblox gameplay basics that the complaint is alleging, because Roblox is such a popular game. Let's learn the way what this plaintiff's attorney is saying about Roblox. So the complaint alleges that Roblox is a video game and platform that was developed and published by Roblox Corp. The game was released in September of 2006. So this is a relatively established game. It was developed in 2006, it says. So it was released in 2006. At present, Roblox has 88.9 million daily active users and over 217 million monthly active users. More than 45% of the consumers playing Roblox are under age 13. So more than half of the consumers that are using Roblox are under 13. That's obscene, friends. So that means that billions of people, I guess, billions of users are millions of users are under 13. So I want to say this again. At present, Roblox has 88.9 million daily active users and over 217 million monthly active users. More than 45% of the consumers playing Roblox are under 13. That's significant. That is significant. More than 45% of the consumers playing Roblox are under the age of 13. Roblox is available to play on gaming consoles, computers, tablets, and cellular devices. Roblox is an online game that is free to download and play, making it easily accessible to all users, including minors. Individuals that wish to play Roblox must create a Roblox account. So moving forward, the next part of the complaint alleges that Roblox, in order to create a Roblox account, individuals must include a birth date, username, and password. Users of any age can create a Roblox account, though users cannot enter a birth date for any year after 2019. There is no requirement to verify age upon sign up, so users can represent that they are younger or older than their actual age. Users are also not required to obtain parental consent to create a Roblox account, nor to play Roblox. And that's very scary as well, because a lot of games, they actually do have, like, to prevent very young children from just downloading it and accessing it, they actually have like these questions that are like either very complicated math questions or different things that only a parent would know, that the parent then has to enter, and it even flashes up something on the screen saying that your parents' consent is required, but Roblox does not. So Roblox Corp groups each game on its platform into 4 content-based categories: minimal, mild, moderate, and restricted. Once the user creates an account, the user can access almost all of Roblox content as if they the user can access almost all of Roblox content if they represent they are over 8 years old. If a user is under 9 years old, they are only able to view minimal and mild content. If the user indicates they are between the ages of 9 and 17, the only content that's not accessible is content specifically marked as restricted, which requires ID verification to view. After creating an account, all users are assigned a default player avatar, which is a cartoonish character that represents the individual user within certain games. This avatar can be customized with different outfits and appearances through in-game purchases made in the in-game Roblox store using in-game currency known as Robux. Robux can be obtained by purchasing with real currency, receiving a recurring stipend given to users with a Robux premium membership, and earning from selling game passes or developer products to other Roblox players. Roblox sales and the revenue generated therefrom increase as the number of active daily and active monthly Roblox users increases. Roblox has hosted over $3.7 billion of virtual transactions on its platform. Roblox Corp offers a premium membership option to users, which can be purchased with Robux. A premium membership offers users exclusive items and discounts, premium only levels within certain games, the ability to trade items with other users, and a stipend of Robux that defray the purchase cost of the premium membership. Roblox gameplay is unique and different from many traditional games. When an individual plays Roblox, they open the Roblox program, where they are presented with myriad games known as experiences that they can play. These games are sorted into different genres and categories, including but not limited to sports, role-playing games, fighting, first-person shooters, horror, comedy, military, and naval. So this is pretty extensive, friends. They create these very enticing, unique user experiences. The games available to any particular user will vary based upon the age they entered when generating their account and Roblox algorithm that recommends games to the users. When within the platform, players can jump back and forth between the games Roblox presents to each player. Most games available on the Roblox platform are not directly made by Roblox Corp. Rather, the Roblox platform includes a game design feature whereby users can generate their own games and make them available on the Roblox platform for others to play. So Roblox's 2024 changes to safety settings. So in November of 2024, which is recent, in November of 2024, Roblox Corp announced major updates to its safety systems and parental controls. It claimed these updates were implemented because safety is and always has been foundation to everything it does at Roblox. The changes Roblox Corp made in 2024 included new labels for categories of content, changes to viewable content for each age group, parental controls for minor screen time usage, and a new minimum age at sign-up. Prior to the 2024 changes, Roblox Corp allowed all users, regardless of age, to view any content other than that marked 17 plus. In fact, users as young as 2 or 3 could view any content on the platform that was not protected by age verification. Beginning in 2024, Roblox Corp imposed stricter limits on the content viewable to users that represent they are younger than 9 years old. Even after these changes, however, users that represent that they are older than 9 can still access all content that's not marked as 17 plus. So that's a pretty free system here. So until 2024, Roblox Corp did not provide parental controls for minor screen time and usage on Roblox. Roblox Corp could have allowed parent-imposed time limits, but instead chose not to allow parents to limit set times on their minor's Roblox account for over 18 years of operation. Until approximately September of 2024, Roblox Corp allowed users to represent their age as young as 1 year old and have access to virtually all content on the platform. Even now, parents whose minors are over the age of 12 cannot set restrictions on spending limits, set time limits, change privacy settings, or manage friends and communication on their minor's account. That's obscene that they do not give a parental control dashboard for kids over 12 that would allow that. The implementation of these restrictions and changes by Roblox Corp in 2024 demonstrates its understanding of its responsibility to implement such restrictions and safety measures, and further demonstrates how easily Roblox Corp can implement restrictions and safety measures in general. These changes also demonstrate that Roblox Corp has control over access to not only its platform, but the games that users are able to access on its platform. The changes that Roblox Corp implemented this year did not require game-by-game review by Roblox, but instead were implemented as system-wide updates. So then the complaint against Roblox talks about their monetization of addictive game design. And the plaintiff alleged that Roblox Corp designed the game creation aspect of its product to allow users to create their own Roblox video games for play and purchase by other Roblox users, including minors. Through third parties, So those third parties create the games. Roblox Corp profits from many of the games created on its platform. Roblox Corp constructed a creator hub on its website. The creator hub provides users with instructions, including how-to videos on how users can create their own Roblox games, and also provides users with tools that enable or facilitate creation of their own Roblox games. So that's pretty insane. They're allowing these creator tools so that creators can go ahead and create these games, but then they're still profiting off of these games. So again, if you're a user, you want, what are your thoughts about copyright issues? And like, if you're creating this game and then Roblox is benefiting from it, what are your thoughts about sharing of profits? And let's see how that works. So users that create their own games are referred to as creators or developers. Roblox website boasts that its top 10 developers made on average $30 million in the second quarter of 2024. All right, so it does appear that there's a share in of profits, and there is a way for to quote these creators or developers on Roblox platform that are creating games that are then shared with other users or played by other users. They are making money. So this seems incredibly, incredibly lucrative here. So essentially, it's saying that Roblox website boasts that its top 10 developers made on average $30 million in the second quarter of 2024. Roblox Corp reports that its developers collectively earned $1.4 billion from 2022 to 2023. Roblox Corp encourages creators to use the tools already available on its website to craft its creator-made games. To assist in teaching current and potential developers how to utilize their tools, and Roblox Studio, the Roblox Corp's Creator Hub includes literature under topics such as publishing, promotion, and monetization. The Creator Hub's purpose is to teach potential creators everything they need to know about creating on Roblox. The monetization topic on the Creator Hub includes literature on monetization strategies, immersive ads, subscriptions, passes, developer products, avatar items, engagement-based payouts, paid access, and private servers. The hub discusses engagement-based payouts, which lets the developer earn Robux based on the share of time that premium members engage in an experience. So the developers themselves can earn Robux, which is the Roblox form of currency, based on the share of time that premium Roblox members engage in an experience. Roblox Corp's Creator Hub encourages developers to keep other users playing their games for as long as possible to increase the developers' profits and, in turn, Roblox Corp's. So, in other words, they're encouraging these developers to they're giving these developers large monetary incentives to use incentives that would encourage addictive game playing and encourage excessive game playing to keep these players on on Roblox platform for as long as possible. The Creator Hub provides instructions on how developers can access their payout data, which will help a developer understand what factors drive premium subscribers to their experiences. Analytics on the website provide data and insight to grow a developer's audience. So interesting. It's like these developers on Roblox, they have like their own ecosystem of followers. So that's interesting. Next, one of the tools that is featured on Roblox's Creator Hub is a Season Pass. As described above, a Season Pass allows players to pay real-world money to obtain access to exclusive items that are available to be purchased for a limited time through points that are earned during gameplay. Roblox Creator Hub encourages the use of Season Passes to motivate players to continue playing developers' games, create a sense of urgency regarding items offered by the season, and create anticipation for the next season to keep players coming back. Roblox therefore encourages and gives step-by-step instructions for developers to incorporate Roblox's harmful and addictive algorithms, programming, and strategies, including microtransactions and games without warnings or time restrictions, as described hereafter, into each of their games, resulting in Roblox Corp earning significant profits from each game that it helped design, host, and promote on its platform. So Roblox specifically markets to minors, yet lacks adequate safety features, as the complaint continues to allege. It spends hundreds of millions of dollars to meet it. So basically, Roblox states that, so instead, Roblox Corp provides users, potential users, and guardians false assurances of safety. So they're saying that Roblox does not adequately inform users of the inherent risks that are involved with using and playing Roblox, or that the product was designed to make users play more to their potential harm, and instead they give false assurances of safety, is what the complaint is alleging. So moving on, they're giving some examples of statements that Roblox makes that they feel are false representations to the public. They say that while Roblox does feature some parental controls, almost all of these parental controls can only be applied to minors' accounts if the minor is under 13, despite Roblox Corp's alleged desire to create one of the safest online environments. Despite its acknowledgement that users under 13 should not use its services without their guardians, go ahead. Roblox Corp provides absolutely no safeguards or requirements of parental consent when making an account, even if that user represents they are under the age of 13. Further, this instruction regarding parental permission does not reasonably coexist with Roblox Corp's acknowledgement that its game was created for children. So they go on to talk about the inadequacy that they believe exists with Roblox's safety warnings. Further, it says, additionally, Roblox Corp only allows a parent to enable parental controls through their minor's account. To engage with, change any parental control settings, or link a minor's account to theirs, the parent must first know that the account exists and subsequently know the login information of their minor child. Until 2024, Roblox Corp did not provide parental controls for minor screen time and usage on Roblox. Roblox Corp could have allowed parent-imposed time limits, but instead chose not to allow parents to set time limits on their users' Roblox account. Roblox Corp could, but does not allow any users to set self-imposed time limits on their Roblox account. Once a user reaches the age of 13, parents can no longer impose parental controls on their minor's account. This is problematic, and I do think that through this core process, Roblox is going to have to come to terms with the fact that there are some deficiencies so in their safety warning. So Roblox was designed with intentionally placed addictive features. So they go on to talk more in depth about that. They say that Roblox Corp admits to consulting child development experts for aspects of game development. They're consulting with behavioral psychologists to see how can we make this game more addicting. That's the allegation. Next, moving on, they designed Roblox with addictive properties to take advantage of the chemical reward system of a user's brain, especially a minor or neurodivergent person, to create addictive engagement, while knowing that abuse, compulsive use, and addiction in minors and neurodivergent individuals can lead to brain damage and injury, including but not limited to dissociative behavior, withdrawal symptoms, social isolation, negative consequences on cognitive processes, and other harmful effects. So they're claiming that Roblox Corp did not inform the public that it designed Roblox with addictive psychological features to keep users playing more often and for longer periods of time, while knowing that abuse, addiction, and compulsive use by minors and neurodivergent individuals can lead to injury. They're alleging that Roblox Corp designed Roblox with addictive psychological features to keep users playing more often and for longer periods of time, while knowing that abuse, addiction, and compulsive use by minors and neurodivergent individuals can lead to brain damage and injuries, but conceal this information from the public and product users, including the plaintiff IHG. So Roblox Corp allegedly misrepresented Roblox as safe for use by minors and neurodivergent individuals, while knowing it had been designed and developed with addictive psychological features to keep users playing Roblox more often and for longer periods of time, and while knowing that abuse, addiction, and compulsive use by minors can lead to injury, such that Roblox poses significant risk of harm to users. So these are the allegations. And then the complaint goes through the exact same things for Fortnite. It walks the court through what Fortnite is, how does the game work, because if you're not familiar with Roblox or Fortnite, you would not necessarily have this information or know it to be able to put it into context of this lawsuit. Fortnite is an online video game and game platform that's designed, developed, and published by Epic Games. It's free to play, making it easily accessible to all users, including minors. It was first released in 2017 and now available in 3 distinct game mode versions that share the same general design and engine. Fortnite Battle Royale, Fortnite Save the World, Fortnite Creative. So it talks in depth about Fortnite, and then it talks about Fortnite's youth-focused partnership controlled. Fortnite's youth-focused partnerships contradict game rating but increase profits. So Fortnite's Battle Royale and Save the World are rated T for teen, recommended for individuals aged 13 and above. This does not mean younger children cannot use them or that Epic Games does not know that children under 13 are using Fortnite products. Rather, Epic Games is aware and markets Fortnite to consumers of all ages and particularly to minors. So then moving forward in this complaint, the complaint goes on to say that regarding Fortnite, despite its T for teen rating, survey results from 2019 show that 53% of U.S. children aged 10 to 12 play Fortnite weekly, compared to 33% of U.S. teens aged 13 to 17. Even though most Fortnite games are rated T for teen, Fortnite, specifically Battle Royale, has engaged in numerous collaborations with child-friendly entities. So this is important. So even though most Fortnite games are rated T for teen, Fortnite, specifically Battle Royale, has engaged in numerous collaborations with child-friendly entities such as Disney, Lego, Marvel, Nerf, Air Jordan, DC Comics, Pac-Man, the NFL, Ninja, Rocket League, Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Tron, Neymar Jr., the NBA, LeBron James, Ariana Grande, Naruto, Naomi Osaka, Indiana Jones, Dragon Ball, Spider-Man, Batman, TikTok, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Wreck-It Ralph, Lewis Hamilton, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Nike, Pirates of the Caribbean, and more. Most, if not all, of these collaborations are geared towards a wide audience that unmistakably includes minors under the age of 13. Many young children with Disney movies play with Legos or listen to the music of pop stars like Ariana Grande. Epic Games is explicitly and intentionally marketing its Fortnite games to young children by collaborating with the above entities. I mean, that's a fair statement. When you're doing all of these collaborations with these individuals who are so appealing to children, it is very fair to say that they're targeting children under 13. Fortnite was designed with intentionally addictive features, this complaint alleges. Epic Games designed Fortnite with numerous psychological tactics to take advantage of the chemical reward system of a user's brain, specifically and especially a minor or neurodivergent person, and to create addictive engagement, while knowing that abuse, addiction, and compulsive use by minors and neurodivergent individuals can lead to injury, including but not limited to brain damage, dissociative behavior, withdrawal symptoms, social isolation, negative consequences on cognitive processes, and other harmful effects. Epic Games actively employs or has employed psychologists and behavioral experts within its user experiences department and online department. Upon information and belief, Epic Games designed Fortnite in conjunction with psychologists and other behavioral experts to ensure the addiction of minor neurodivergent users. The use of microtransactions or very small purchase amounts within an otherwise free product, a lack of warnings about the harms of youth, no self-imposed limits on playtime, and other features described in this complaint are all examples of Epic Games employing these psychological tactics. The plaintiffs claim that Epic Games failed to disclose that it designed the Fortnite products with numerous psychological tactics to take advantage of the chemical reward system of a user's brain, especially a minor neurodivergent person. And they allege that Epic Games knew that its Fortnite products contained an inherent risk of abuse, addiction, and compulsive use by minor, and the harm that arises herein. But instead of describing and disclosing the harm, they claim that Epic Games marketed Fortnite as educational and safe for use by minors, inside and outside the classroom. That would be interesting to see. Did they, friends, let me know in the comments, have you seen advertisements where Fortnite is being advertised as safe use inside and outside the classroom? Are they actually marketing Fortnite as being an educational game? Let me know. So then the next part of the complaint against Roblox and Epic's games, talks about Fortnite and it's allegedly deceptive promises about safety and educational value. They're claiming that this is an educational game. So they go set forth all of these allegations here that have been set forth allegedly by the defendants. And on its website, Epic Games even offers free Fortnite lesson plans to educators on subjects ranging from history, geography, and programming. So that's interesting. They're marketing Fortnite as an educational experience. So then moving along, we want to talk about the actual plaintiffs' allegations and what they're alleging in this case. The IHG, the plaintiff in this case, is a 12-year-old minor. He's addicted to video games, specifically Roblox and Fortnite. He began playing defendants' video games and using gaming products when he was 8 years old. At age 8, IHG began using Roblox on Xbox and quickly became addicted. Currently, he's a 12-year-old child who now has no interest in any activities besides from playing Roblox, Fortnite, and previously Minecraft. IHG used to enjoy playing football. Now IHG becomes irritable when he does not have access to the products, including when he is at school. When IHG is not playing the above referred to games, he is thinking about playing the games constantly. IHG has lost friendships and has used money that was not his to purchase video games. IHG has no ability to control or decrease his usage of video games despite numerous attempts to do so. IHG has an individual education program in progress and has sought outpatient counseling to help him decrease his usage and improve his mental health. Now that's interesting. I'm wondering if the IEP, the individual education plan that he has in place, is for certain neurodivergent conditions or other medical conditions that he has, because IEPs relate to school supports. I wonder if he has been formally diagnosed with IGD, which is internet gaming disorder, or what that's for. So that would be interesting to see. And he, this is really sad. They're claiming that he just thinks about gaming all the time. He's lost his friendships. He's having trouble when he's not playing the games. He has engaged in deceptive, unfair, immoral, and reckless behavior that damaged and continues to harm him and countless other Californians and Americans. For this, defendants should be punished, and punitive damages should be assessed against each defendant for their respective misdeeds and unlawful conduct. So then it talks more about the specific allegations with respect to this particular plaintiff. As is required when you're setting forth a complaint, you have to show that you, as the individual in a tort claim, in a tort case, were harmed, and that it was caused by the wrongful acts of the defendant. Let's talk about the plaintiff's claims here against Roblox Corp. They are alleging strict product liability and design defect. They claim that the video game products that defendants placed into the stream of commerce were defectively designed. The products were designed to cause addiction and compulsive use, including by minor. They were not reasonably fit. They were not suitable or safe for their intended purpose. That's interesting. We're seeing now a design defect claim being waged against Roblox here. I mean, we've seen design defects claims with respect to other types of products like pharmaceutical products, medical device products, but this is really interesting to go through these complaints in detail. Each defendant could have utilized cost-effective, reasonably feasible alternative designs to minimize these harms, such as by designing their products without the harm-causing features listed above, but they still, while still providing optimal gaming experience. Each defendant could have utilized features such as robust age verification, effective. Let's go down this list. They're alleging that the defendants should have, but did not, design the products with robust age verification, effective parental controls, the removal of barriers to the enactment of parental controls, warnings of health effects of use and extended use upon sign up, opt-in restrictions to the length and frequency of sessions, self-limiting tools, including but not limited to session time notifications, warnings, or reports, tools to restrict and or block usage during certain times of day, such as during school hours or late at night, limits of microtransactions, and other things that they could have done. So the next claim that this plaintiff is bringing against Roblox is for strict liability, failure to warn. So these are going to be similar but not identical claims. These are largely going to have to do with, I'm assuming, with safety warnings. So let's take a look. They said that defendant knew or should have known that ordinary consumers, such as the plaintiff, would not have realized the potential risks of the products. Roblox and Fortnite are highly addictive and likely to cause physical, mental, and emotional injuries. As defendants knew or should have known that the use of Roblox and Fortnite was dangerous, harmful, and injurious when used by plaintiff in a reasonably foreseeable manner. And they owed a duty to warn consumers of the foreseeable risks and dangers of the products. And upon information and belief, defendants failed to include a warning or an instruction regarding the herein identified risks and dangers of using defendants' products, including risks posed to minors who use the products in their intended and foreseeable manner. And then they talk again about specific failures that they feel that Roblox is guilty of. Whereas they say they failed to ensure the products included warnings about their addictive design. They failed to conduct adequate pre- and post-market safety testing. They failed to include adequate and conspicuous warnings that would alert users to the dangerous risks of the product, etc., etc. And then the next claim that's being brought is for negligence in design. And that's count 3 here, is negligent design. Very similar claims. They didn't do effective, robust age verification, parental controls, removal of barriers to enactment of parental controls. And then also count 4, negligent failure to warn. So they're essentially saying that they should be held strictly liable, but they also were negligent as well. So basically the plaintiffs are saying they're doing this intentionally, but they're also negligent as well. Failure to warn. And then let's go down to the rest of the relief sought here. Count 6. Let's see what count 5 was. Count 5, I'm sorry. Negligent failure to warn. Count 5 is negligent, ordinary negligence. So really, when you're an attorney, sometimes in these tort cases, they really try to throw in the kitchen sink and they want to bring every claim that they can. So they brought ordinary negligence as well. And then count 6 is statutory negligence under California Civil Code 1714. They also are bringing a claim under intentional misrepresentation, California Code 1710. That is the next claim. And then finally, or maybe not finally, they are bringing a claim for negligent misrepresentation. And they are also bringing a claim for fraud. So they are claiming that the defendant, Roblox, acted fraudulently. And let's see, there is a count 10 here. Violation of California's unfair competition law, California Business and Professional Code, section 17200. I have handled a case that was brought under the UCL. And so for all of these reasons, the attorneys for the plaintiff are asking for that the court grant them the following relief. They want prejudgment interest. So they want a number of things here. They want for plaintiffs to be awarded general damages, including pain and suffering and emotional distress, according to proof at the time of trial, past and future economic and special damages, according to the proof at trial, medical and related expenses, according to proof at the time of trial. They want prejudgment interest, according to proof, pursuant to the California Civil Code. They want costs of suit. In other words, they want the defendant to pay their attorney fee and court costs. They want injunctive relief to stop the defendants from doing this, and they want attorney's fees. They want exemplary and punitive damages and or They want exemplary and or punitive damages according to proof at the time of trial, and for any other relief that the court feels is equitable or just. So they have asked for a lot. They have raised a number of issues, a number of claims. I haven't seen a complaint this packed or stacked with claims in quite some time, because tort claims tend to be like that. They need to make sure that they're alleging everything that their client could possibly have a claim for. And there are not just state consumer protection. There's also federal. I'm actually a little surprised that we don't see like a federal Lanham Act claim or some other, like they have federal laws that govern unfair competition and also deceptive advertising. So if they're claiming that the advertising is deceptive, I'm surprised we didn't see some either false advertising claims, because California actually does have something called the FOUL, the false advertising. So California does have something called the FOUL, which is the false advertising law. And that is, I think, a different section of the California Civil Business Code. We also handled, when I was working in civil litigation, we also handled a case under the FOUL, which is the companion statute to the unfair competition law, which the defendants are which the plaintiffs are suing which the defendants are suing Roblox under here. But it's interesting. We didn't see false advertising claims here, or a lot of consumer protection claims. They really kept it seems like, to the standard, tort and product liability claims, personal injury claims. So friends, let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think this is going to be successful? I wonder if Roblox is going to file a motion to dismiss or a motion for failure to state a claim, which is what that would be under California Civil Practice Code. California Civil Rules of Procedure, because you can move to have certain claims dismissed and allege that the plaintiff did not meet their burden or did not set forth these specific required allegations to be able to maintain this lawsuit on those specific claims, and the court can then dismiss some of the claims. So it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how Roblox responds, and I'll continue following this story here on the channel. So again, this is Sped Up News. We come to you live every day with daily live streams on breaking news that impact the entertainment and celebrity space. We've been covering Sean Diddy Combs, all of his federal criminal prosecution, his civil suits from alleged victims. We've been covering the Jay-Z versus Tony Busby lawsuits, and the anonymous accuser who's come forward against Jay-Z and named him. We've also covered the Vanderpump Rules litigation, both Lala Kent's trademark infringement lawsuit and also Tom Sandoval's recent decision to represent himself. So we're going to be covering all of it here. Let me know in the comments what stories that you're interested in seeing, and subscribe to the channel, support the channel. When you subscribe to our channel, you'll be notified of all of our daily live streams. Thanks so much, friends, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.